Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and let's welcome our new guest. Here is baby Jonas. Jonas Ishmael Carranza, or Jonas Ismael Carranza. He arrived just 2 weeks ago, and I'm here to tell you guys all about my birth story. I am gonna put together my birth story and my birth vlog all in one video. Originally that was not, oh my gosh, he's tooting right now. Originally that was not the plan, but as a lot of you guys know, I was diagnosed with preeclampsia and I ended up having baby boy a whole month early, so we have a little preemie in the house. And so yes, I didn't really get a whole lot of footage at the hospital, so I thought, you know, let's just combine the two so that you guys can kind of see more of like his story and just everything that happened. It was a wild ride, literally nothing like I expected, and in no way nothing that we ever wanted for me or for him during this whole like birth experience. But we are super thankful to have him with us and to have a healthy baby, and I'm just really thankful that I'm also healthy and on the road to recovery. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I do have some notes written down just because I'm not very good with the details and I didn't want to miss important information, but here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some clips from the hospital here and there throughout the video so that you guys can kind of see like what our experience was when we were at the hospital. It all started May 8th, which was crazy because the day before that, Omar was in Mexico. So he only went to Mexico for the weekend. May 8th was Monday and he has his whole family there. So I told him, if you want to go to Mexico, like now is the time, because I don't want you to go after that, because like, you know, baby can come any day. And so he decided to go really quick. And it was a quick trip, but I was super scared and he was scared too. He didn't really like show it, but he was scared. He was like, please don't give birth while I'm gone. And I was like, okay, I won't, like thinking, oh, I still have a whole month left, you know? And so that was kind of scary because the next day on Monday I was at work. And while I was at work, I'm a school teacher, and while I was at work, I was just like starting to feel funny, like just like not like myself. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't focus very well. And then all of a sudden I started seeing stars, which was really weird. Like I just could not focus on one specific thing. But I kind of like just disregarded it. I'm like, okay, it's probably like my pregnancy. And honestly, I've had a tough pregnancy, so I was kind of like used to all the symptoms. And so fast forward to a couple of hours later, I felt worse. And by this time it was probably already like 11:30. My students had just gotten back from related arts and I could not get through the lesson that I was teaching. And it was evident for them, it was evident for me, like it was just something was off. So eventually I told them, I'm like, you guys, I don't know like what's wrong with me. And then this is when I started getting like emotional and like I started crying in for my students. And I had never really done that, but like I did not know what was happening to me. I can't explain it. I was just seeing stars everywhere. And so I was like, you guys, you might have a sub here soon, because I don't know if I can give the lesson right now. Like I don't know if I'm well enough. And obviously they knew like I was pregnant and I was about to give birth and a little bit, but you know, I wasn't supposed to give birth until after the school year was over. And so to make a long story short, I ended up calling admin. They came into my classroom. Then the nurse came with a wheelchair. They rolled me out of my classroom because I like physically could not walk. I couldn't focus, and you know, they were scared for me and I was scared for myself, but I knew there was something wrong with baby. So I just was like, oh my gosh, like someone get me out of here. So I called Omar. He said, I'm on my way to pick you up. And then I ended up going to the nurse's office at the school and they checked my blood pressure. They saw that it was high, so they ended up calling the ambulance. And then Omar ended up meeting me in the emergency room at the hospital. Thankfully, I was super close to the hospital, like 10 minutes maybe from my job, which was really nice because that was a hospital that I wanted to give birth at and where I was going to all my appointments and stuff. And so when I got to the emergency room, there was like a lot of like just tests being ran, and then they had the blood pressure pump on me all the time, and I was like in a daze, honestly. But all I know is that it took forever, or at least it felt like forever, for them to like tell us what was going on. Like, I didn't understand. Finally, a couple of hours later, I believe, a few people went into my room and they finally said, hey, you've been diagnosed with preeclampsia. And when they said that, I was like freaking out because I had heard about it, but I never really knew like what it was. So they explained it to me. They were like, essentially like it's an infection and it's in the placenta, and the only way to get rid of it, or for you to get better and for baby to be good, is for us to deliver baby. And I was like, what? So they said, so you are being admitted to the hospital and your baby is going to be born within the next couple of days. When they said that, I was just so scared because I had a feeling that baby was not doing well at all. If you guys are not familiar with preeclampsia, it's a pregnancy condition that can happen during pregnancy or after pregnancy, but for most people it happens during pregnancy. And some of the symptoms that you get from it are swelling, like big time swelling, headaches, blurry vision, protein in your urine, and other things like that. But it can be fatal and for you and the baby, and that's just super scary. So I honestly didn't imagine being on that boat. It was just really scary. But Omar was like super calm, and he helped me stay calm because I don't know, like I just didn't know what was gonna happen or when I was gonna give birth. And so after I was admitted, they finally gave us a room and I was able to rest a little bit. But from that moment on, you guys, I could not eat anything, and I hadn't eaten anything since 7 a.m. that day. And so I asked them, I'm like, guys, like I only had breakfast, like can I have something? And they said no, because if I were to go into an emergency C-section, it can be very dangerous for me to have food in my system. So I was very bummed because I couldn't have any food. I was like, okay, when can I have food? And they said, after you deliver baby. And I was like, you guys just said baby's gonna be born in a few days, like what? And so I was like kind of freaking out, but obviously I was on an IV and I was on medication, so I knew I wasn't gonna like die out of starvation. So the only thing that they can give me like every now and then were ice chips, and I was really salty. I just really wanted some food. But that was kind of like the least of my worries after a while. Like I forgot about food, to be honest. Alright guys, this is my first meal in 29 hours. I'm excited. And so at this point, all they were doing was trying to regulate baby's blood pressure and baby's sugar, because it was just rising and falling, rising and falling. My blood pressure was rising and falling too, so it was really scary. And so the nurse checked me and I was only at 1 centimeter of dilation. And that to me was a little defeating, because I'm like, how am I supposed to give birth when my baby is like not even ready to come out? You know? And so they were like, okay, we're gonna put a balloon in you so that your uterus can expand and so that you can dilate faster. So they put me on this balloon. It was very uncomfy and it was weird, honestly. And after they put that balloon on me, I don't even know like the medical term for it, but after they put that balloon on me, I started to dilate a little bit more, but I wouldn't get past 5 centimeters for some reason. And at this point, my contractions were starting to be very consistent. But even though they were consistent, they weren't like super like strong. Like I can feel them, obviously. I was in pain, but not like excruciating pain, if you know what I mean. Oh, baby. All right, sorry. So yeah, I wasn't in excruciating pain, but the pain was getting like stronger and stronger, and I knew I wanted an epidural. So at 10:30, they finally gave me my epidural, and that was nice, except I puked everywhere, and that was not fun. It was nice after I got it, but during the process, it was awful, like awful. Just makes you nauseous and shaky, and it's weird. at 2:20 in the morning, they finally broke my water, and I was like, okay, this is gonna speed up hopefully, and I was hopeful. But then like baby just would not give. They had to reposition me every 10 to 15 minutes because whatever was going on with my body, like baby could not handle it, and he was just not doing good. Like he wasn't able to regulate, and poor little guy, he was fighting so hard all night and nothing was happening. So I felt pretty defeated. The nurses felt defeated, and I was restless because they kept coming in to reposition me. Finally at 5:30 in the morning they checked me again, and I was still only 5 centimeters dilated. So to me that was good, but to them it wasn't good at all because baby just was really struggling. But honestly, this whole time I feel like people weren't really communicating with me. Like I felt like they knew what was going on, but I didn't know what was going on, and that was scary to me. And finally at about 7 in the morning or 7:15 in the morning, some people came into my room. Again, I was in a daze, so I don't really know. At this point I had a catheter, I was on magnesium, I was drowsy, I was not feeling good at all. But to make a long story short, they said, you know what, your baby has just been working way too hard, and nothing is happening, and we're gonna have to have an emergency C-section. And when they said the word C-section, I kid you not, I started bawling my eyes, and I was like, no, like I don't want a C-section. I told them, like, I'm like, can we keep trying? Like, is there anything else that we can do? Like, I don't want a C-section. And to me that was just like the scariest thing, because I never knew, or I never thought that I would have a C-section.
Will I be able to have baby skin to skin right away?
So sometimes we just have to, make sure baby's lungs get all clear. When baby comes out vaginally, the lungs get really squished and all that fluid comes out. But when they come out by cesarean section, then they don't get squished. So we just need to give them that little jump start, and then we'll bring them right to your chest.
Okay. I unfortunately have to get a C-section because baby has just been through a lot the whole night. He's been trying to balance his blood pressure and his heart rate, but it's just spiking and falling, and cesarean is the only option right now because I have preeclampsia. So here we go. ¿Cómo te sientes?
Yo, bien, siento bien.
Ya vamos a conocer a nuestro bebé.
Ya, ahora sí.
We're gonna meet our baby in just a little bit, like 30 minutes.
I got your box.
Especially because my mom had 4 births and she never had a C-section. 2 of my sisters had one had 5 kids, the other one had 3. Neither of them had C-sections, so I was like, no, like this isn't happening. Like I couldn't understand like why that was happening to me. And so that was at 7:15 ish, and at 7:30, guys, I was already being rolled out to the OR for my C-section. The only thing that gave me strength was knowing that I was gonna meet my little baby boy soon, and so I did get a little bit excited, but I was crying the whole time. Like through my whole C-section, I was crying. It was so scary, but I also just didn't understand like why they didn't communicate with me. Like I felt like everyone knew I was gonna get a C-section hours before, and here I was 15 minutes before my C-section not knowing I was gonna get a C-section. But fast forward to 7:55, baby boy finally entered the world. Everything went smoothly. I did feel a lot of pressure because even though you're on anesthesia, like you still feel them like doing stuff with your abdomen, so it was such a weird feeling. But I was soon able to meet this little man, and he weighed a whole 4 pounds. Yeah, you did. He weighed a whole 4 pounds and 14 ounces. He was itty bitty. When they finally brought him around to me, Omar had already met him because he went to cut the cord and everything. But I saw him and I was like, oh my gosh, he is so tiny. I could not believe it. And I was 36 weeks exactly whenever I gave birth to him. So he was technically a month early.
So anytime we come and we gotta check your band, make sure they match.
Oh.
5, he is who he says he is. Alright, so I'll have you open up this gown. 75.
70.
75. Es más mejor.
Yes. Sí, subió de 36 a 75.
Okay. So we're gonna make sure he keeps his blood sugar up, and his temperature up, and then we'll come back.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I missed him. You know what's good?
What?
That I'm gonna get 3 months practically.
I know, that is a good. We were saying that, Mariah and I.
Yeah.
That you get an extra month with him,
Yes.
which is
Pues,
amazing, sis. So he'll be 3 months when you go back to work.
Yes. No. Me lo llevo a México este.
Este ocurrente.
Ay, corazoncito.
Let me take pictures of you, sis.
Alright, well my camera died, so I had to take a little break to charge it really quick, but I was saying that the nurses asked me like, hey, we have here in the notes that like your due date was supposed to be June 16th, but then it was moved to June 5th. Like, do you know why that is? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what happened, but I do remember that they gave me a different due date. So they were saying that technically he might have been 35 weeks when he was born instead of 36, which is why he was so tiny.
What was his sugar last time?
What was it? I think it was in the 50s. So it went up, so that's good. And then it's staying up. So that is what we want.
Yay.
I'm gonna just change his diaper real quick. Yeah.
But by God's grace, he did not have to be a NICU baby. He was able to regulate his temperature eventually and his blood sugar. So I'm super thankful for that, because even though he's super tiny, like he was healthy, and he did struggle a little bit with jaundice, but I think he's good now. They told me his bilirubin was a little bit high, but nothing to like worry about. But yeah, so that is the story of our sweet baby boy. We are again like super thankful for everyone and just for everything that happened, because this could have been a more traumatic and a more like crazy scary story. But overall, you guys, we're just super thankful. People have shown up for us in so many different ways, whether it be prayer or with meal trains or food, or just random stuff and random acts of kindness. And my sisters have been also been a huge help. So we're just again like super blessed. It's amazing what having a community can do for you, and we're just really thankful to have that. My original OB ended up not delivering my baby because I had a C-section, but honestly, I was not happy with him. We could have prevented this, I believe, or at least we could have figured out that I had preeclampsia a lot sooner, and then things probably wouldn't have gotten as bad, because I was super swollen. If you guys look at my previous videos, like my face was swollen, my arms were swollen, my hands, my legs, my feet were the most swollen ever. Like, it hurt to walk. It got to the point where I felt like I had bruises on my feet every time I walked, and so it was terrible. He also didn't refer me to my ultrasound that I was supposed to have a month before I gave birth, and it was like annoying because the ultrasound could have probably said like, hey, something's up, you know, but he didn't send the referral. And I asked him several times like, hey, I thought I had an ultrasound coming up, and he like disregarded that. When I told him how swollen I was and about my carpal tunnel, like again, he didn't do much about it. So I'm really salty with him, because I felt like he could have really like helped me a little bit more. But overall, I'm just thankful that my baby is okay and that we are home and healthy and recovering. It's been a process and a journey, but I just am so thankful to God for just this beautiful experience and for allowing me to enter motherhood. And he's just so perfect, and I love him so much. So that's our story. Omar couldn't be here because he's working. He did not get paternity leave from work, so I'm sad, and it's been tough on my end, and I'm sure on his end too, just like not being able to be here, and for me like trying to manage a whole newborn while also recovering, and it's a learning process for sure, but we're just super thankful, and I'm just super blessed with this little baby. I do need to feed him soon, so I should probably end this video before my camera dies again and before he wakes up grumpy. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that if you are pregnant and you're watching this video, I hope that it doesn't scare you, but it allows you to, I guess, think about the different things that can happen, and just know that like your birth expectations might not be met, and it might go better than you had planned, and it might not go the way that you had planned at all, but I hope that you have a safe and healthy birth story and delivery. And also I'm so excited to be sharing this new journey with you guys. Obviously I'm going to be posting more videos, and my content is going to shift a little bit just because I am a mom now, and so I hope that you guys are excited for that. Thanks for watching today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below, and we'll see you guys on our next one. I'll give you guys a little close-up of this little bub. He's growing so fast. I'm excited to see how much he weighs now because he eats a lot. He eats so much. Anyway, have a good one, guys. Love you.